Odin.
And that was that. Season 1 of American Gods is over. It's been a great first season for Starz' new show. It feels like it went by in a flash, and it capped off its first year's run with a little meet-up where gods both old and new drew the battle lines for the war that has now begun. And that meet-up we got wasn't in Wisconsin, as Shadow and Wednesday took a minor detour looking to recruit one last ally. In Kentucky, they were seeking Ostara, Easter, and another one of the old gods. Wednesday sought to sway her into joining his cause, recanting the old days where followers would flock to her in huge numbers to pray and to offer her gifts. She's doing okay for herself at the moment, but you could tell immediately that Wednesday struck a nerve when mentioning how her day was now not really just her day. Sure, the holiday itself is named after her, but after other events occurred such as the rebirth of Jesus, now she effectively shares her day with many others around her. That was Wednesday's selling point, which proved to work. Ostara, in an incredible display of power, decimated the land, removing spring across the earth, and in doing so, pledged her allegiance and made her choice. If the people want spring back, then they must pray to their god. Only then, with enough belief and prayer, will spring ever return to the world. It made for a hell of a way to end the first season, and it wasn't in any form like I anticipated. I've been thinking all season long that a collision would go down at this meeting in Wisconsin, but it didn't happen. The setup for that continued with the final shot of the season, which means season 2 must be where this meetup happens. And it can't be that far away now. That was Wednesday's final pit stop, and Bilquis was seen on the bus heading to that meeting at the very end there. So perhaps season 2's first episode will be where the meeting eventually goes down. Now, mentioning Bilquis, she centred heavily this week as Anansi returned to narrate the old goddess's tale. In the ancient times, she was revered, worshipped in the thousands, and the reach of her powers had no end in sight. But over the course of time, it began to waver, break down. Her shrines were destroyed to the point where in America, she could do little but waste away. Only on one fateful day, Technical Boy appeared to her and offered her a chance to find who she once was. She took it, adapted to the new world, and is as relevant now as she was back in her prime. And after what Technical Boy said to her, I don't know. You get the feeling that she doesn't want to help him and knows what a sadistic prick he is, but then he was the one who came to her, so she feels a sense of obligation. Because of that, is she sort of a rogue agent on her way to attending this Wisconsin meeting? Will she repay Technical Boy by betraying her fellow old gods and align herself with the enemy? As of right now, it certainly looks that way. Now, I've spoken of how impressive Ostara's powers were, but in terms of excitement, it just had to be Wednesday finally confirming his identity to Shadow and then showing off his own feats of strength. Yes, Odin is Wednesday's real name. It was briefly mentioned back in that police precinct, but Shadow was still painfully unaware of whose presence he's been travelling in. I know he wasn't a believer and all, or well, he wasn't a few episodes ago, but come on, the writing was written right in front of you, mate, so you really should have figured it out by now. The scene was freaking fantastic though, those clouds forming and moving in from above, then Wednesday raining lightning down upon his enemies gave us one of the best scenes from the whole season. Him speaking each of his names with the final fierce Odin roar even had the new god looking a little uneasy. And I get the feeling that was just a taster of his potential power, so the sooner season 2 comes around, the sooner he can show it off and impress us once more.
I dedicate these deaths to Ostara.
Which deaths?
My overall verdict for the season finale of American Gods is a very high 8 out of 10. It was an episode that packed a punch in its final quarter, and it was one of my top 3 episodes from the first season. Now, this debut season has been extremely recruitment heavy, focusing on introducing the gods to the audience, and seeing a couple of the old gods stand strong against the new is a scene many of us have been waiting to see since the show first premiered. The finale answered some of our questions, and as shows always do, left us with plenty more to ponder. Ian McShane was again terrific, Gillian Anderson too, And as for the new gods, they are more so than not yet to show off their full strength. Wednesday's been the one to poke the beehive and try and entice an attack, but Mr. World and the others are yet to sting. Technical Boy is still being kept on a leash, but after that lightning attack laid the battle lines for the war, Mr. World has been given no other choice. We knew that he didn't really want a war to happen, explaining that he would be happy enough to starve and wait out Wednesday's inevitable demise. But scrap that now. After being provoked, if war is what Wednesday wants, that is exactly what he's gonna get. Mr. World has had precious little screen time, with 95% of that coming in episode 5. That leads me to believe that they are saving him as much as they can until it is the right time. There's no need to show off your big bad and his abilities if you don't have to. So I don't know, if the show intends to run for 3 to 4 seasons or so, maybe his power is being saved until the ending scene in a season finale. It was too early to show him off here, the story hadn't progressed that far yet. I'm sure they could have worked it in if it was done right, but let's not rush it. But the stage is set, at least in my eyes for the future, for Mr. World to strike Wednesday down. Now I said it earlier, but the ending and the Odin reveal / confirmation scene was the best moment from the week, and one of the best in the show's first season. Shadow having belief instilled into his system could be exactly what Wednesday needs if he's going to survive. But there is a spanner in the works. Laura extracted information from Sweeney that Wednesday was the one who had her murdered, and she could be the key to whether or not Shadow continues to follow and believe in his new boss. She spoiled the party at the end there with Shadow gushing out his newfound feelings, so if Laura tells her husband that his new boss was the one to actually cause all of this, I can't really see that going too well. Finding out that the casino, the jail time, car crash, his wife's death, and all subsequent actions were laid in place for him wouldn't exactly be the best news in the world. So it all depends on if Laura decides to break that news to him. And I've not touched upon him yet, but with the episode named Come to Jesus, yes, he made an appearance. Well, not just one of them. Many variations and versions of Jesus were all at Easter's home, but the one who stood out was Jeremy Davis. I expected it to be him as much, he's just sort of got that look to him I suppose, and I hope to see him appear more as the deity when the show returns. When looking back at it in a way, the episode didn't necessarily act as season finales tend to do. There wasn't a really big oh my god moment for a cliffhanger, there wasn't a shocking death where the repercussions were to await us. No, it acted much more like a normal episode. It doesn't really bother me to be honest with you, and I wouldn't like it if they forced an unnatural ending, but I do have a question for the book readers out there. How much material have we scratched so far this season, and by your guesstimations, how many seasons do you think American Gods will end up running for? That'll do it from me. What did you guys think of the season finale? And which was your favourite episode from the first season? And for you non-book readers out there, or people who genuinely have no clue what happens next, what are you predicting to happen next season? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the review. And I'll see you on the next one.
Hello, Shadow. Hey. Do I know you?
Yes, you do.